Hey, it's Randall here at JTech. Today I'm going to be talking about the emission systems on this Mercury. Um, there's four major systems. You got the EGR, you've got the EVAP, you've got the PCV, and then you have the catalytic converter. All right, first I'm going to start out with the positive crankcase ventilation, which is this hose right here. Goes from the intake and is connected to the valve cover on this side. What it does is the air that manages to find its way past the pistons will go into the crankcase, and it'll come back up and it'll get sucked through this hose here back into the intake to actually be put into the intake manifold to be used. What the positive crankcase ventilation of the PCV really does, it stops the release of hydrocarbons from the crankcase, and some symptoms from if it's malfunctioning can include oil leaks. There could be oil in the air filter housing. You can even have a high or low or even unstable idle with this vehicle, or with any vehicle that has the PCV. Okay, next we're going to talk about the EGR, which is this up here, up top. What it does is, under loads, so if you're accelerating, it'll open and it will take exhaust gases, because it's exhaust gas recirculation system. What it'll do is it'll take that gas and it will recirculate it back into the intake, which then takes up volume in the combustion chamber, which it sort of does a cooling effect, because there's not as much heat from the combustion, because the combustion doesn't have as much of an area to actually happen. What this does is it controls the release of the oxides of nitrogen, so NOx. And it does that by helping the temperature of the combustion chamber. And some symptoms could be that it fell state emissions, but the state emissions, not every state has one, so you'll just have to check with your local Department of Transportation or whoever you need to speak to about that. It'll have a warning indicator light, or some people call it a check engine light. It looks like an engine on the dash. On acceleration, there'll be a hesitation. It could stall, be a rough idle, or you even hear a pinging noise on acceleration. Alright, now the next part's the EVAP system, the evaporative control system. The reason that I'm on top of the motor right now is because the purge canister is actually, or purge valve canister is actually up here, but the actual EVAP system is underneath the car. So we'll go ahead and get under there. Okay, so here we are underneath the vehicle. This is where the EVAP system is located, like literally at the gas tank. There's two hoses here. One will go to the purge canister, and the other one will actually go to the gas tank. And the fuel tank, or no, the EVAP system stops hydrocarbons from being released from the gas tank into the atmosphere. And some of the symptoms for this system would be a filling state emissions test. There would be even warning light indicator, the check engine light, and you would have a fuel smell inside the vehicle, which means that something on this system is possibly failing. Alright, so now we're under the vehicle, talking about the catalytic converters. For this one here, there is two. This is on each side. There's one O2 sensor there. There's one here, and there's one that's usually upstream above the cat. And what we're what the catalytic converter does is it reduces hydrocarbons, and it usually stores a bunch of oxygen inside of it. And if the fumes come out that's coming out of the engine are carbon monoxide, it adds an oxygen to make it carbon dioxide, to make it a breathable, or it's not harmful to the human body. And it also helps with the NOx, which comes from a very hot combustion chamber. Some symptoms of a malfunction would be it's a failing state emissions test, which that just means that it's putting out too much. Then your check engine light will come on. You'll have reduced power if it's restricted, and a no start if it's clogged.